So where is Matthew heading? We're joined once again by meteorologist Paul Williams from Accuweather. Paul?
Well, first and foremost, Matthew has now shifted in direction. We'll put this into motion real quick. You can see that defined eye right here. Matthew is now shifting directly towards the northwest. In simplest terms, it's now heading straight for Miami or Florida. We have 115-mile-per-hour winds right now. The location is 23.0 north, 76.0 west. It's right now 170 miles south-southeast of Nassau, Bahamas. When you take a look at the rain with the satellite estimated radar, you can see that circulation right there with the pounding of the rain shower activity that's pushing throughout the Bahamas and moving and closing in on them. Now, this is where I have to kind of give you an idea to conceptualize just how serious this is. Current wave heights, we have wave heights reaching up to 24 to 21 feet on a steady basis right now, just overrunning some of these smaller islands. And this is just the surge that's just happening from the storm alone. Then we're concerned about just the general devastation that's going to hit the Bahamas immediately for Thursday. Now, this area with extreme, or the darker orange here you see, it's also encapsulating Nassau and Freeport with flooding rain. We're looking at over 2 feet of rain in some areas, even worse, dangerous storm surges, power outages to the extreme. But you'll notice it's going to clip portions of Florida. Now, here's one thing I wanted to kind of give you an idea how serious this is actually going to be because of how close Matthew is going to get to the Florida coast. This is 95 right here, and you see the darker purple indicating 100 to 140 mile per hour winds. That dark purple, or that area that we're expecting from Thursday night going into Saturday, right along the coast here. Now, just a slight shade underneath that, between 80 to 100 mile per hour winds, that's right along the western coast, the eastern coast of Florida. And so when you see this area, it's including Fort Lauderdale, Port Lucie, we're looking at Melbourne, up to Daytona Beach and Jacksonville. When you're talking about winds between 80 to 100 miles per hour, that's a serious, serious concern for the residents there. So at this present time, we have active hurricane watches and warnings and tropical storm watches and warnings. And the simplest way to put this, we have hurricane warnings and tropical storm warnings on the east side of the state. Center part of the state, we still have tropical storm warnings, and then we have watches on the other side. And though this may look a little bit convoluted, I wanted to break it down for you in the clarity, as clear as we possibly can, actually. Hurricane warning from Daytona Beach, Orlando, Florida, to Fort Lauderdale. Hurricane watch, coast of South Carolina, Savannah, Georgia, to St. Augustine, Florida. Tropical storm warnings, Leesburg, Florida, to Miami, Key Largo, Marathon, Florida, and then the tropical storm watch, once again, on the west side of the state, Tampa, Gainesville, Florida, to Naples, Everglades City, Florida.
Paul, this is such a powerful storm. Any chance the intensity might lessen at any point?
Well, funny you should mention that because we're still tracking what we're expecting as far as category is concerned. We're still expecting it to stay at least a category 3 as it gets closer to Florida. The problem here, and this is sort of, it's not a controversy, so to speak, but it's a bit of it's an interesting thing that's happening with this storm. All the models are indicating it's going to, let's say, die down to a category 3, maybe a 2 when it reaches South Carolina. Now, here's the problem, Mike. It's expected to pull back out to the water as a category 1, but if it does this, according to some of the latest models, it can actually curve back into the land again. That typically does not happen. It's something that we're monitoring very closely. A lot of the models are being kind of spread among themselves, but generally speaking, we're looking at it staying at least a category 2, at the very least, as it makes its move into the South Carolina coast and it makes its way up towards North Carolina. The irony of it is, if it doesn't hit North Carolina and goes back out into the water, that will give it a better chance to swing back and strike land again.
Amazing. Paul, thanks so much for that update.